establish communication with the key players in the VLab, so people who own communities or who are project leaders or managers. And it's a two-way street, so we're hoping to provide you some information, but also take the opportunity to hear any concerns or issues that you want to bring to us, and perhaps there's something we can do to assist. So with that in mind, I'll mention that we have, as you would expect, continued to evolve the VLab, and we are in the process this month of having rolled out a new portlet, which has been, I think, in the works for, since really the VLab was first envisioned. And we'll hear more about that portlet in a bit, but I just wanted to mention that, this is a major milestone for the VLab. This project's repository portlet offers an opportunity for, the National Weather Service to assist NOAA in its efforts to better understand how it's doing its innovation and research and development projects. And so you're going to get to hear a lot about that, and I think you'll be very impressed with how the VLab has been used to facilitate this new repository for project data. And so welcome. And Steve Smith will not be joining us initially, so I'm glad to have had the opportunity to welcome everyone, particularly those who are new. Let me go ahead and now turn it over to Ken Sparrow, who will tell us a little bit about what's been going on since we last met last month. So Ken, take it away.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I think it'll help actually with this portion. So I'm going to talk about what's new. There's several different things. So I'll first cover the things I do every month, and that is new communities and projects. So with regard to the communities, there are a handful. There's was a request 19 days ago for, it's called the NOAA's Earth Information System, NEIS, and this is, I believe, an OAR project, or project as well as community, and so this is the community requested, and that's been created. There was also a request for a National Weather Service Spanish translators community, and that's been created as well. And then the Southern Region Voice over IP community. So those are the new communities over the last month since our last meeting, those three. On the project side, there have been more. In fact, there's some that are pending at the moment. They just came in today related to AWIPS 2 for data delivery and local application software, free and open source software. So those are in the process of being created. And these are development projects again. There's also a WRF hydro or WRF hydro project, and then the migration of the now coast to NOAA's IDP infrastructure. And in fact, we've been doing a lot recently in support of IDP and projects coming on board within the IDP infrastructure. And NCEP and NCO have been using the development projects within VLab quite a bit. So there's also a corollary project for NEIS on the project side that goes along with the community. And then the tsunami forecast model is a new project, and then the SFSC AFOS software development project. So you can see it's been very busy on the project side. In fact, we've been coordinating with some folks at GSD. They're using something, Subversion Repositories for with GForge, I believe is the name of the product that they're using. And there are over, I believe, 70 different Subversion repositories for different projects that they are very interested in migrating all of this to VLab. So that's 50 gigabytes worth of code that could potentially be coming our way. And so that's likely to be happening in the next month or so. So we'll probably report on that for next month. Other things that are a little bit that we've done is that there were some changes last week on the site itself, and let me zoom in a little bit here. And one thing that you may note is that the header up here, the images changed slightly. We've also consolidated some of the unused space that used to be that you would be able to get to the contact us and the user's guide directly from links. We've embedded that within this help drop-down, and that was to save space again. So we were just thought that we could optimize the use of that very important top space, and so we've done that. This works too on mobile browsers, so if you're doing it through a phone or iPad or something like that, you'll notice that it works with the new theme too. The other changes, there were some security updates were put in place to address some security issues with the underlying portal framework, and some improvements. And then lastly, we did, I fixed an issue that has been around for quite a while with regard to VLab forums, and the fact that if someone sent in an email with attachments, the notification emails that were sent to users that were subscribed, they weren't getting those attachments. And now that has been fixed, or that enhancement has been made so that emails include the attachments as well. So that's kind of a highlight of what's been going on. We've been busy this month, and hopefully people will find that it's for the better. So that's my update. Any questions on any of that?
If you do have one, go ahead and use the raise your hand feature, or enter a question in the chat box, and I'll be happy to forward it on to Ken. Okay. Well, we'll certainly have time in the roundtable, so you can always do a redirect to Ken at that point if you had a question. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is, as I mentioned in the intro, we'll be looking at a couple of key aspects of the project's repository. And essentially, there's sort of two use cases that immediately come to mind when we talk about this project's repository. The first one is to simply be able to search all the projects that currently are ongoing within NOAA. And then the second use case is to consider, actually adding one. And so I suspect a number of people, maybe many of the people who would attend this meeting, are probably owners of projects, and maybe have already been asked to or have heard of this repository. So hopefully you'll find the tutorial or demo that Mike Giebler is about to give you instructive. So why don't we go ahead and Mike, can you take it away? Do I need to unmute you? Okay. Mike, are you there? Okay, I'm getting it. There we are.
There you go.
Okay, you're unmuted now. Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I have on my screen is the project's repository. This is out on our production virtual lab, and we've already had some projects entered in here. Scrolling to the bottom, looks like we have 36 that have been entered, and we just rolled this out a couple of weeks ago. And just getting to what John wanted to kind of go over. First, I'm going to go over some of the search features to how do you sort through these 36, currently 36, which could grow to quite a few, because this is going to roll out to all the line offices of NOAA. So the first thing, just for searching, we have what we call like a global search up in the this upper section, which is kind of a toolbar section. And what that does, that searches through several of these fields here, And you can just type in a keyword here and click search, and it'll search through the project name, the description, and these organizations as well. And I typed in model as an example here, and that narrowed it down to 10 results. So that's kind of how that works. This global search will also search through some of the categorization that you can do on these projects. For example, we have a category of weather ready nation. If we search for that, it'll come and that brings us down to 8 results on that. And where that's coming from is if I click on one of these, down at the bottom is we've added tags and categories on these, and so that would show up in there. There's also an advanced search feature, and this is kind of to give you a way to narrow things down about if you know specific things about projects that you want to search for. For example, the line office. If you want to just see what's available for a particular line office, you can select that and click the search button, and it'll narrow it down by the line office. So there's just 2 for the NOS. I think all the rest that are in here so far are National Weather Service. And also this can be multiple fields can be searched at the same time. And I think it'd be good to kind of go over quickly the difference between search types. There's an all type or an any type. And what search type all does is it means if you enter more than one field, to search by, if you search all, both have to match. And if you check any, it'll see either the description has to have model or this receiving organization has to be MDL, and that'll give us a few results. So it's given us 13 results, but if I change this to all, that means both fields have to match. If I click search again there, that narrows it down to just 2. So that's just kind of a way to narrow down looking for different things in the projects repository. Another thing that could be helpful is sorting these headers in this table. The ones that have an underline in the title are sortable, and this one on the project name is currently sorted in ascending order. If I click that header again, it'll reverse that to descending order. Just another way to, if you're browsing through it, to find some different things. The other topic is how do you add a project as a project owner. And on this main page here, on the toolbar again, we have a Add Project button at the top. If you click on that, it'll just take you to a multi-step form to enter this information in. And each of the steps are fairly short. And then you navigate through the different steps. There are next and previous buttons at the bottom. Also, some of the fields are required. We try to put a message next to that field if it's required for you. And step 3 gives you a little bit more information. We try to add some drop downs for these different organizations. And if you click on the drop down, it'll give you this full list of options. Or if you want and you know what your organization is, you can just start typing it, and it has a search feature, and it'll find it right away for you. I'll just go ahead and go through these real quick. And then one of the main purposes of the project repository is to track this TRL, which is the technical readiness level. And when you click on that drop down, it kind of gives you a brief description of what the different levels are. There's levels 1 through 9. So you go ahead and select that. And next. And the last two steps are all optional data. If there's a transition plan that's been established for this project, you click yes here. And if there's a transition date that's been identified as a target, you can select that here. Also, if you've written up a plan, Excel spreadsheet or a Word document or something that goes over the transition plan, you can attach that at this point right here. And then the last step is the categorization that I mentioned earlier. We have different categories that you can attach to the to this project, and that helps with the search features down the road if you wanted to use those. But those are all optional as well. And the categories are predefined, but we also have a tag section here where you can enter anything that you want in there. It's not predefined, it's what you decide you want to tag the project with, and that will be searched as well. And then on this last step, just click the Save button. And that completes it. It takes you back to the main form again. In case you want to enter a second project, you can do that right here, or you can click this back button right here, and it'll take you back to the main page. And you can see on line 1, that's the project that I just entered. And just to give you an idea, we're leveraging the VLab's workflow process for the status over here. So initially it'll show up with a pending status, and that means I can see this project as the creator, and also the person in the workflow process that's going to approve this can see this as well and look it over. And what the workflow process is, just a simple one-step process. For National Weather Service, Steve Smith is the approver for that, and he's just kind of doing a quick sanity check to make sure it looks like we're not missing anything or anything like that. And once he approves it, that status will change to active, and then that's viewable by everyone that comes out to this page. A couple of other things that might be worth noting would be, as the person that created this, you can edit it once it's been put out here. And I wanted to point out for things like the target system and these organizations, if by chance you can't, the target system that you want to add isn't in this list, we give you the ability to go ahead and add that right from this spot right here. It'll take you to a really short form to fill that out and to complete that. And then once that's done, it would be available in this list for you to add at that point. So okay, and that's actually just a real quick demo of the search features and how to add a project. So I went through it kind of quickly, but I didn't know if anyone had any questions about it.
Again, raise your hand if you have a question for Mike. Any questions? All right. Well, we have a question for you. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. I see Ken Johnson has a question, so let me unmute him.
Thanks. Is there a way to tell who entered the information for any given project?
What we do have is currently, if you click on it, it will do the project owner, and that was a field that was entered. And as mentioned in previous demos, that can be changed by whoever enters it. So it's not actually displayed anywhere right now. That could be a field that we might consider adding someplace. Okay. Because it is recorded in the database, but we're just not displaying it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and Brian Moretsky's with me here. I think he's got a question as well.
But the name is displayed, so even though you can change it, there's something displayed there once you click on it.
Yeah, it's the project owner.
Yeah.
It's displayed, but the
doesn't tell you when.
Yeah, the person that actually enters the data can put somebody else there if they've been, designated to enter it for somebody else. But so.
Okay. While you're staying on this page, if you were to click on the projects repository heading there in the left, which is in the the light blue bar.
Right here?
Yeah. Will that take you back to the main page?
Yeah, it takes you. This is the VLab breadcrumb area. So depending on what page you're on, so it takes you just back to that page. So you can see when I went to development services, it said development services. So,
is there a way to remove that?
That is actually part of the theme. So without changing the theme, we can't do that.
Is there some reason you would want to remove it?
Did I see 3 project repository headings? The top one, the second one, and the third one.
Okay.
And it's confusing.
So yeah, redundancy there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Almost 4 if you're on that page.
Yeah, potentially we could do that with CSS to do that. But
I'd be hesitant to remove the breadcrumbs, Ken, only because, like for example, it wasn't shown, but if you go to the reports or to a subpage, that's really the easiest way to get back to the parent page, and it kind of shows you where you are in the hierarchy. I understand that on this particular page, it is a bit, it may be confusing, but so like here you can see the NOAA project repository and then reports. So that's a hierarchy, and to get back to that topmost page, clicking on that breadcrumb is the easiest way of doing that.
Okay. One other question: if a project ends, what happens to it? If it's
what we
done,
do, so so the idea is that over time, we're going to be sending out pings for people to, check your project, make sure it's up to date, and what you do is you'd go out to the edit option here, and since this has been approved, you can change that status, and one of the options is completed. So that sounds like that might be what we do at that point is flag those as completed.
In other words, the repository would continue to retain project data even after the project had been finished, as a resource to see what was done, when, and all those sorts of details questions may arise even after the project was finished.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mike? Let me go ahead and ask you a couple questions real quick using the polling feature. So if you'll bear with me just 1 second. We're going to launch our first poll question. And if you would take just a second to give us some sense of if you had heard about the projects repository before today's meeting. We're interested in knowing, as we continue to spread the word, how effective we've been in reaching out and making people aware of the repository's portlet. So if you'll go ahead and give me your response. And it looks like a significant number of people haven't heard about it. perhaps tainted somewhat by some of the VLS team members on the line as well, but all righty. Great, and I'll give you another 2 or 3 seconds. All righty, and we're going to close the poll now and give you another shot at a related question. And this one asks, have you been asked to enter project data? So are you a project owner? Perhaps you're one of the people who's seen the letter that went out from the National Weather Service Director and Chief Scientist of NOAA asking for everyone to participate in this pilot project that we have going this year, which will end at the end of the fiscal year, where we're going to collect, I guess for the first time, across NOAA, project data. So not only is the project repository a milestone for the VLab, but it will also represent a milestone for NOAA in its efforts to better understand, where it's doing its R&D and innovation. All right, well, I'll close that one out. And with that, I will transition over to Ken Spurrow, who's going to tell us about he's going to tell us about a very important part of the VLab, and that is communication. And within each new community that's created, there are a number of tools made available by default, and one of them is the forums. And forums have the ability to do emails, and those two paired together are a very potent tool for making your community a valuable resource. So I'll turn it over to Ken, and he'll tell us about email and forums.
Okay, great. So what I wanted to show then is hopefully you're all seeing the feedback on National Blend of Models, which is one of the communities within the VLab, and they use the forum quite extensively, or have in the past. And so I just wanted to show you, I think everyone is probably familiar with the forums or message boards, but the thing to point out is that forums can behave in many different, or in several different ways within the virtual lab. And specifically, what I'm going to focus on are the notifications, and then also the mailing list capabilities. And so, there are different ways of interacting with the forums. One way is that you can go in and actually log into the VLab, and then come in here and post a new thread. So that's one approach. It allows you to come in here and subscribe to the forum category, so you can subscribe to the entire category. So let me back up a second. So let's go back up here. So this is the forums at the root level for this particular community and what they've set up. And so you always want to use a category for your threads. And so the reason you would do this is that by using a category, people can subscribe to them, subscribe to the category in general. And then in addition to that, not only can they subscribe to it, but if you had more than one category, you could break up your content to make it relevant to the different categories that are potentially part of your community. And then people can subscribe to the components that are important to them. It's also important from a functionality perspective in that if you subscribe to a category and a thread is generated, and so someone posts a new thread, it's going to then generate an email and notify you via email of that new content. Not just notify you of the new content, but also put within it whatever the user put within the thread itself. So that's an important point, so that you can get that email. And if it's been done via a category, Liferay, the underlying infrastructure, knows how to handle that if you do a reply. So in other words, if you get that email, you don't want to have to log into the VLab. You just want to reply directly through the email. you can do that, and then it'll be posted directly from email, be processed, and posted within the forum, and then people would be notified. So that's the advantage of using the categories. There are several advantages there. Now, one other capability exists, and that is the capability to be able to, so oftentimes users may not even want to log into the VLab to post a message initially. So they don't want to not just be able to respond to threads, but create new threads. And to do that, we have to use something called the mailing list capability. And so at the category level, the project or the community owner has the ability to come into here and edit that category. And with the assistance of the VLab admins, you can request a special email account, a function email account, and this has been done for this project. So there's this account, email account called National Blend Feedback at NOAA.gov, and so it's dedicated to this category. So it's a special account that was created, and so then we can go into this category, or actually the project owner could do it. Community owner could do it, and they can configure it so that what ends up happening is that LifeRay goes out and it actually checks for new emails that are being posted to this particular category or to this email account. And you specify the read interval, the username, and the password that would be set. And then so this then enables us to be able to go out, pull emails, and then post them to the thread. So I have a picture that kind of describes all of this. So let me just show you that real quick. So the first use case is that someone's posting directly within VLab, within the website. So they do that. What ends up happening there is that the VLab itself sends an email to anyone that's subscribed to the category or threads, and then that email is sent with a sender of VLab notifications. So that gets sent out. If the mailing list is active, and that's in that last screen that I was just showing you, there's a flag that says mailing list, and that's how you go in and set up that special email account for it. It also sends an outgoing email to the mailing list account itself. So that's just something to be aware of. So the email is going to be generated. It's going to go out to the subscribers, and then they can then respond to those emails. So that's a normal notification approach. They'll respond to it. I've got that coming back up over here on the right-hand side. So it goes into the VLab notifications email account, and then there's another process within VLab which we've turned on. We've turned on this pop server notification. So it basically goes out, pulls the separate VLab notifications account. That's where I said you don't need to do anything special other than use a category for their email responses. And then it's going to pull it. If there are new emails in there, does it find one? And then if it does, it posts it to the correct category. And then again, so that's that. The other option is that on so there are different threads that are set up for each of the categories that has a dedicated mailing list. And for each of those, it goes out and it checks, okay, is the mailing list active? If so, it's going to pull the incoming email address. So if we look at that, what I'm talking about here is, so the mailing list, is it active? And then the incoming email address is what's set up here. So these settings, it's going out and checking that for that. And then, so it's checking that at the interval that's specified. It goes out, grabs the incoming request. If an email is found, then it's going to basically post the email within the forum category. So this is a way in which people can submit things, post threads without ever having to log into VLab. And like I mentioned before, late last week, if you sent emails, if you did two different things, if you sent emails that initiated a new forum post, if you did that and you had an attachment, the emails that were generated out through this notification never included those attachments. Well, that now does work. So, and that was a problem for many people, because a lot of times someone's going to reference a document or something, a PowerPoint or some Word document or whatever else, and without the attachment itself, that would require that they actually have to go in and log into the VLab, which in terms of efficiency wasn't very good. So anyway, hopefully I haven't completely confused you all, but we're making this available within the user's guide, so that if, as a community owner, you want to take advantage of the mailing list capabilities, or just the forums in general without the ability to initiate a new forum thread through email, you can have this as a point of reference. So that's what I wanted to cover, and I guess if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this point.
All right, anyone have questions? Raise your hand, please. All right, so Ken Johnson has a question. Go ahead, Ken.
Hi, John. We have a few questions here.
Sure.
First question is, so you said that the attachment thing was fixed late last week?
That's correct.
So it should be working now. Okay.
That is correct, yeah. It was fixed Thursday night, so.
Okay. Second question is, when somebody sends an email to one of these email addresses that is supposed to create a thread, the way it comes through on email is it comes from this VLab notifications at noaa.gov email address, as you mentioned. But I have no way of knowing which, besides the thread title, I have no way of knowing where this has been posted. Is there a way to...
Yeah, the footer of the emails has the actual location, so you can click on those. So let me see if I've got an example that I can show you.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
Do you see that at the bottom of the emails? It should, and that's something I didn't cover during this talk, but if you look at, so one of the other things you can do, let me go back up here. So as, again, I've turned this off, but if you turn edit controls back on, you go into the forums and you look at the configuration of the forums themselves, you can see that there are this email from, and so that's going to give you the email account, and that should stay the same. But the email added, so basically within the signature itself, we've got the subject, and then make this a little bit bigger. So there's a key down here at the bottom, but you as a community owner are free to change this to be whatever you want, but just make sure that you do it in such a way that makes sense. But the message URL and the mailing list address are what's going to be what's of interest to you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Another follow-up question.
Sure.
If somebody sends or starts a thread, can somebody respond to it from their email, or
yes. So so that's the same thing. So if someone, even if you're not using the mailing list capability, as long as it's as part of a category, if you're subscribed to this, someone posts a new thread, you get the email, you can respond directly to VLab notifications, and it's going to post it within here directly. So for example, if we look within here, there are multiple posts like in this case here. So I don't know for certain whether this was done within the web interface or whether it was done through through an email, but this is a case where someone responded to it, and you can tell actually here that they did that via email, and so it puts it directly within the thread itself.
Okay, and now I'm going to be a little bit specific because I want to just make sure this is working. There was a email sent last week in the National Blend of Models Virtual Lab Forum relating to model evaluations, and I wanted to see if it shows up in as one of the threads while you're looking.
Model evaluations?
Yeah. If you, yeah.
Oh, what? That's interesting. So let me go back for a second. It was last week, you said?
It was
sure.
Yeah, the subject.
I was. Go ahead. Sorry.
It was re-forward reminder model evaluations.
So I was looking at this myself, and I'll have to ask David Myrick, was it to this address? Because I noticed that the last activity was back in April.
Yeah.
Within this, and
so I'll send it to you, and you can look at it. It
yeah,
says
let me take a look.
It says at the bottom, National Blend of Models Virtual Lab Forum.
Okay. Yeah, send it to me, and I'll take a look. So.
Okay. And that's Ken I'm talking to, Ken Sparrow, right?
Yeah, Ken Sparrow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Were there any other questions you had for us, Ken? Ken, any other questions? Okay, I know Andy Edmond has a question. Let me see if I can. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Let's see here. Andy, I don't think I'm going to be able to unmute you. It doesn't. Could you send us your question as either a question or a chat message? Okay, so I see you've entered a question. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay, I think you're dialing in now. Okay. No, he's writing his question now. Okay. Bear with us a second.
Any other questions while we're here?
Let me see. I will check the attendee look.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll go back to the question. So Ken, well, I guess maybe we'll leave that for another day, actually. I was curious about the HTML formatting. Has that been fixed, or?
No, so that's the next thing. We've got a couple different things on my list. The next one is to investigate why HTML formatting is being stripped. So if you generate a message within the forums directly, the email is nicely formatted, but if you send in, I can actually show you. So if you send an email with, for example, a hyperlink or something like that, it keeps the hyperlink, but it separates it out, so you lose some of the nice formatting. So I need to track that down in the code and fix that as well. So that's I'm addressing that, and then we're also it's been on the books for a while too, looking at implementing wiki logging. So what we mean by that is when someone is editing a wiki page, have it actually lock it so that if someone else goes in and tries to edit at the same time, it's not one of these situations where the last one or the first one in rules and the other person might lose some of their work, or it would tell them right from the start, hey, there's someone else already in there editing it. So.
Okay, so I think we have Andy's question now, and it says, a couple of years ago I signed up to receive emails for a number of VLab groups. I don't really remember seeing any. Does the group, does the Google spam filter block these, or is there some other issue?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen situations where Google's blocking it. It may be that some of them that you signed up for aren't active. We'd have to go in. There is actually a way to look at that, so you can go in and I believe, let me see if I remember correctly, my account, there's this My Subscriptions section, and if you click on that, so go to My Account, My Subscriptions, and then within there it will show you the different things that you're actually subscribed to. And so in my case it's quite extensive, but I wouldn't expect it to be this this many for most people. So that's a way that you can go in and check it to confirm first that you are in fact still subscribed. There's no reason for me to believe that we would have unsubscribed you, or you would have been unsubscribed by things. But that's what I would do if I were you, is check to see first that you actually do have some subscriptions. And then you can go out and look at those particular entries and see, confirm that either they're very quiet, or if they're not quiet and you're not getting the notifications, then I would go out and check. The first thing, I would do is check the spam filter. But like I said, I'm not aware of, at least for me personally, and I haven't heard of other people, that being an issue.
I think it does turn out to be the spam filter. I do believe you add that email address to your contacts list, it will no longer block them, because it checks to see if it's in your email list or contacts list, and if it is, then it assumes it's a good message. Okay, so be sure and let us know, Andy, if you continue to have problems, because we can take a look at it more closely and figure out what's going on for you. Let's see, Evan Polster also has a question. He says, here at GSD, we are interested in moving the repository from AWIP's GSD to a sub-project called Ensemble Tools. Can we have the repository and issues moved from the top-level repo to the sub-project? So I guess this is switching topics somewhat, but...
Yeah, that would be a big change in topic.
Yeah. Do we want to wait for the
let's try to
roundtable?
handle that at the round table then.
Okay. So Evan, can you hang on to that question, and we'll get back to you in just a short while. All righty. So I think that does it for questions for Ken. And thank you very much for Ken for telling us a little bit about how this all works underneath the hood and empowering us to better leverage it in our communities. So the next item we have on the agenda is we'll hear from Anna Rivera, and she has an example of where she used a thing called a velocity template to sort of enhance the look of her one of her pages on a community. And so we're going to see, or she's going to tell us just a little bit about how she did it to sort of whet our appetite, give us an idea that maybe there's something we can do to make our communities look better too. So let's see.
So I think, Anna, you should have the ability to share and speak now.
Okay, I think I've shared it. Is it working?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, yes, we can use certain templates to format portlets. And one example I have is this portlet down here on the governance page. This is in the AWIPS community. This is the community names up here. Governance page, scroll down on the right side, this portlet called Active Governance Actions. This table was formatted using, oops, am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, you are, Anna.
Oh, okay. I just have something popping up on my screen. Okay, there it is. Okay, went away. All right, we're back. So the way a template or velocity template, for example, is applied to a portlet, you click on the gear icon, select configuration, and here you have display templates. So I have a couple of templates here. So that's how a template is applied. So I'm going to show you how that template was created. Go into Admin, Content. I think that's where it is. Yes.
So Anna, you're displaying dynamic data lists, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Via the forms. Okay.
I actually entered the data for that particular portlet. So we click on dynamic data list, and this is where I created it. I created a form here. Manage data definitions. And it's actually this very first one here at the top. So this is, first I'll show you what this looks like, this form looks like. This is the form. And I just added a few rows of content, but that's what what it looks like, what the data definition looks like. And the template, in order to create a template, you have to click on the Actions button and select Manage Templates. As you can see, I have a few templates here. I have one in FreeMarker. It's actually the same one as the Velocity one, it's just in a different language. As a disclaimer, I'm no Velocity expert. But this is what this one does. Let's see. You click Edit to view the. Okay, I skipped a step. Let me go back. To edit a display template, you just click on this this link at the top. So I'm going to edit this so we can view what the code looks like. Okay, the first thing you have to enter is a name and details. You can select the language, Velocity or FreeMarker. Okay, get that out of the way. And when I first created this, we didn't have we were working on a previous version of Liferay, so we didn't have all this information here on the left. Data list variables, general variables. So this is pretty neat, but I really don't know much about any of these except data list record fields. These are the field names for the form, for all the fields that I entered in my form. So it tells me the name, the variable names I used, which is very convenient for me. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, this is pretty tiny. Okay. In velocity, one pound sign or sharp sign is used for velocity commands. Now, these commands, I don't know, I just copied them from, I don't know where, I think it was another user helped me out with this. So this is, these are the commands to actually call the service for retrieving dynamic data list records. So basically, the rest of this template is just HTML and style sheets. So this is familiar. If you're familiar with HTML, you'll be able to write these templates pretty easily. The velocity language, it's pretty similar to other languages, but yeah, I had to reference, use some online references for some of these. And basically, each field, you just display them in this is just a for each loop. And I just applied some formatting using style sheets. So once you create your template, you just apply it like I showed before through the configuration. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the applying a template.
Okay, well that was great. That was a wonderful introduction into basically how to configure a particular portlet, and in this case a DDL, set of DDLs to to be formattable in a sort of a dynamic sense. So this really points to the robustness of the Liferay infrastructure. There is just considerable capability there for doing what we have in mind to do. And so whether you're a novice VLab community owner or a more seasoned one, you will quickly learn that really there's nothing that can't be done with VLab if you are willing to invest a certain amount of time and leverage the various technologies that are interwoven into the application. So thank you very much for whetting our appetite there, Anna, and we really appreciate the introduction. Are there any questions for Anna? Okay. Well, great. Oh, wait a minute. I think, well, Andy, do you have another question, or is that a leftover from our previous round?
So this is Ken. Just one thing to note, that you don't have to go through and do what Anna did. She took, she went beyond and really customized things the way she wanted to look. There are default display templates that can be used. So if you're using the form create a new forum or a DDL, which is basically the online forum, you can use the defaults, and that'll provide you with for 80% of probably what you want to do. There's a lot more that can be done too. There you can use like tooltip type things, and we've done some investigation with regard to that too. So it might be that to save space or something like that. Let's say you're collecting a lot of different fields similar to like the project repository. You might want to consolidate it. And so there's a tremendous amount that can be done. And as you can see, no custom development, no actual code had to be delivered to the servers, and administrators didn't need to get involved with this. So that's the nice thing. It can all be done through the web interface itself. But just so.
Hey, Anna, could you quickly step through how to get to the edit template page? Evan Polster wanted to review that one last time.
Okay. It's admin content, dynamic data list. I clicked on manage data definitions. Then select your form. Manage templates. Then you add a display template here. And you select your language, FreeMark or Velocity. And they're very similar, FreeMark and Velocity. I've actually created the same template using both.
And I believe if you click like down below, if you go into one of those just for testing, I think those legends on the left-hand side, when you're actually in the editing mode, it'll place code directly over there for you. So it's that interface is greatly improved upon what was there from the previous version. So that should help people out substantially. So.
And Evan did say thank you for going back over that.
Okay.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, Anna.
Right, you're welcome.
Let me, Alrighty, so the last agenda item before we get to our roundtable involves, one of the services that we provide as part of this meeting is just a little tidbit of information that has come to our attention as the virtual lab support team has continued to provide sort of help desk support. And so with that, we call the Fast Facts, and this week's is a fairly fast fact. And basically, we received a question the other day, and many of you may have had this at some point. You're sitting there typing in some web content, or maybe you're working on some code and or files, and you spent a couple hours and you think, wow, is this stuff being backed up? And of course, if you've got a lot of work invested, you'll probably be very happy to know that yes, in fact, the VLab does back up its data files. So things like any files you may enter into document libraries or Redmine repos, for example, is backed up. And if you are curious as to just how those backups are being accomplished, we have them listed here. So each and every hour, there is at 5 minutes after the hour, there's a backup done such that we have 6 copies of this hourly backup available. So if you lose something and identify it real quickly, then you can certainly get the most recent. You only lose essentially potentially an hour's worth of information. And then each day around midnight, there are backups done to capture what was done that day, and we retain 2 days are retained as those backups. And then finally, each Sunday just after midnight, a weekly backup is done, and those are saved for a couple weeks, which then leads you to notice that if you don't detect a data loss within 2 weeks, then you're pretty much out of luck at that point. And this week we give you a bonus fast fact, and that is that in addition to actual files being stored, the content that the web content that you might create as part of the the VLab collaboration services side of things is backed up on a nightly basis. Okay. And with that, I'll just remind you that the VLST, the Virtual Lab Support Team, is here to assist you. And so if you ever have a question, certainly send it our way, and we'll do what we can to get you a good answer. All right, so that brings us to our roundtable, which is your chance to ask any follow-up questions you may have, or to let us know how you've been using the VLab or how you've been trying to encourage others to leverage it as a tool. So typically what we do is we go around the list of attendees and unmute you one by one for those who can. And then while I'm beginning to do that, let's go ahead and take Evan's question. So let me open that up. And let's see. So Ken, I believe you're probably in the best position to answer Evan's question. Just to remind folks, he was mentioning that he's at GSD. He's interested in moving a repository known as the AWIPS_GSD to a sub-project called the Ensemble Tool, and he wants to know, can these repositories and issues be moved from the top-level repo to the sub-project? So do we have an answer, Ken, for him?
I guess we'd have to touch base with Anna and the AWIPS program office on that. So technically, yeah, issues can be moved between projects, and so that is possible. And the same would be true for the repositories, although it would require, in that case, yeah, I mean, that could potentially happen as well. But I think that they created the AWIPS GSD repo for a reason. So we probably have to take it offline and touch base with Anna and others to find out how to move forward, what the exact desire is, and motivation for it, and then see what the best option is.
All right, that seemed to have satisfied Evan, and I'm sure he'll pursue it offline after the meeting. Okay. All righty, so I've unmuted Bill Ward and invite him to give us an update on what's been going on out in, I believe, the Pacific region.
Not a whole lot. We've been busy with so many tropical cyclones and travel that I haven't had a chance really to step into too many other things recently.
All right. Well, we certainly understand the operational needs come first. So, when you do have time, obviously, you can get back into it and take advantage of what the VLab has to offer.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. All righty. Let me unmute Daniel Melendez. Dan, can you give us an update? Are you there, Dan? All righty. Moving on to Doug Bucks. Do you have something for us this evening or afternoon? And let's see. He has a question. Nope. Let's see. No question today. Everything going well. And great. Always good to hear things going well. I guess I'll open it up one last time to Evan. Evan, did you have anything for us? We could have probably unmuted you and let you ask the question, but.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for attending the meeting today.
Sure thing.
And Jim Calkins, do you have anything for the group?
Nothing at this time.
All right. Well, great. One of our long-term focal points, Kate Howard, is with us this afternoon. Do you have anything for the group?
Nothing today. Thank you for the presentation, though. They're great as always.
All right. Well, if there's anything we can do, some need that you have that we can meet through these meetings, be sure and let us know. And of course, that goes for everybody attending today's conference call, because these meetings are for you, and we really want to make them relevant to your needs. So let us know how we can be of assistance. And thanks, Kate. Okay, and I guess that brings us to Woody Roberts. Do you have anything for us this afternoon, Woody?
Just one question. You have a separate list for the VLab forum as opposed to the VLab focal point meeting, and I think I've asked this before, that I'd like to be included on both lists, and I don't seem to be able to get on the VLab forum list for announcements for those meetings.
Well, good news is you're talking to the guy who maintains the list, so I will see that it happens and forward you an email once I've made the update. Okay, thank you. Sure. All righty. I'll open it up one last time to anyone who might have a question, and just raise your hand if you do, and I'll take a quick peek, see if anyone else has a last-minute question, and invite you to come back next month, where we'll have another round of informative talks, updates, and a chance for you to weigh in on how we might be able to help you out better. So continue to use the VLab and let us know how we can help. And everyone have a good afternoon.